Cool. Let's do it. I will try to give you my most honest answers. I do solemnly swear.
Thanks so much. Well, the new single, I'm Yours, is out this week, and the demo originally appeared back in 2005, so what has it been like seeing it grow into such a phenomenon?
It's been amazing, especially because a song like I'm Yours, first of all, it's a song about generosity. It's about giving yourself or your time to someone or something else. And I'm stoked that people have been embracing that song and making it their own, whether they use it at their wedding or they sing it with their friends or they have it on their mobile or they're covering it in various arenas and YouTube experiences or whatever it might be. And the song was written rather quickly in a spirit of improvisational joy, and that's another great thing about watching the development of this song is that it wasn't written by a team of hitmakers. It wasn't written by a team of scientists that were trying to formulate what a hit was going to be. And I certainly never intended it to become an advertisement for an album or a record label or anything like that. It was just a happy little hippie song that I love to sing, and it just continues to grow now that it's out there.
Great, thanks so much. And the video you were saying on YouTube, it's got over 42 million views, and it's spawned a sea of cover versions. Do you have any favourites that you've seen on YouTube of other people?
Favorite cover versions? Yeah, what have I seen? I love it when choirs get a hold of it and they try to do a cappella versions. I love it when like babies or like little 5-year-olds are doing their own interpretation of it. I love piano versions. I love when people really go a different direction with it. And I also love when people write their own words to it. There was a couple of guys in Hawaii that were sitting out front of like a convenience store and they were playing the gist of it, but then they'd have their own verses and they'd rap their own story, which is awesome because that's really the whole purpose. Because my version was my version, but I'm not one to ask you to do my version, like make it your own, man, like it's just music, celebrate it.
There was one I watched earlier today. It was a girl who hadn't played the guitar before. She was really nervous playing it as well. And it's really great. It's getting other people into the music.
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool.
So it's great. So the single looks like it's going to be a Christmas chart hit. What would you like to be yours this Christmas?
What would I like to be mine this Christmas? Just peace, man. Really, that's it. I ask for nothing. I really do. I don't want my backpack to be any heavier than it already is, and I hope that my cat still acknowledges me because I've been gone for most of 2008, and this Christmas while I'm home, I hope to wake up and find that my cat's right there, giving me some TLC, and we get up and go to the beach and just make it a really nice and easy, peaceful Christmas. That's what I hope.
Yes, that's good. Your debut UK single, The Remedy, is now came out as a karaoke track for the video game Lips. Are you a fan of karaoke at all? And if you were...
Yeah, I think karaoke's cool. It nurtures people's talents. It helps break down any type of shyness that we may have. It really allows you to just go for it. I think everybody sings in their car or sings in the shower, and karaoke's a chance for you to like publicly display that. So I'm super stoked whenever any of my tunes get related to that. It's fun.
And if you have to do a karaoke tune, do you have any favourites?
Yeah, I always do. It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones. Yeah, that's always a crowd pleaser. Also, Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison, always gets the place going, I like to do karaoke songs that other people want to sing along to.
Yeah. You recorded some of the new album in London. What did you enjoy about being in the city for so long, and what did you miss from home?
When I made the album here last year, it was surprisingly warm. September, October, November of 2007. I think it rained twice. I rarely had to use my jacket, and so I was really lucky in that regard. And I would spend my weekends down at Brighton with my good friend Adam, and it was just a wonderful time to be living in the UK. Martin studio up in Kensal had a lot of windows, and so we were welcoming that sunlight. And there was a big old tree that grew in the courtyard at the studio that we watched go from green late in summer down to nothing by early December. You know, just this barren tree, and so it was really nice, you know. And going to Brick Lane every Sunday for some quality Indian cuisine, and scoring little knickknacks and tacky clothes from the markets, you know. I really dug that, you know, and getting to know other musicians in town, and sort of establishing a community in a new territory was nice.
Yeah.
You know, it really was.
How was it recording with James Morrison?
James was great. You know, he was in and out of the studio a few times, and knew that he was a great singer. I really loved Undiscovered. You know, I thought that live energy that he captured on that record was great, and so knowing that we needed another vocalist on the track, he was like the obvious choice. You know, I was like, yo, why don't you come and sing on this? And he was super gracious about it.
Great. You toured the UK in April, and from previous tours, what's been your favourite place to play in the UK?
You know, I've always loved playing down in Brighton because the crowds are just ready to celebrate. You know, there's like a party down there for some reason constantly. Although in September we performed right over here at the Royal Albert Hall, and that was just tremendous. You know, because as grand as it is, it's still very intimate. You know, there's not a bad seat in the house, and there's so much respect for the venue that if the show calls for silence, you'll get that silence. You know, but also when the show calls for interaction, people are so happy to be there that they interact. So it really ended up being the most perfect show that I've ever been a part of. It was just a fantastic night.
That's great. And when you play your shows, do you prefer doing it with the full band or just if you and Toka?
You know, I prefer both. I'm happy to go out with the band for a few months a year and really get away with all the rhythms and crazy sounds. But I also love just breaking it down. Like today I did a performance with Toka, and he didn't even bring his drum, and so I would stop the guitar on many occasions and we would just play with our voices, which is something we've actually never done. And I get a good rise out of that. It's fun when you can share harmonies with other voices. You know, you already have your own body buzzing from singing, and then to hear that rub on someone else's voice is divine.
At your gig at April, I bumped into Bruce Parry at
Yeah.
Shivers Empire.
Yeah.
And you have a track on his Amazon Tribe album. I was wondering, how do you think you would get on doing one of his Amazon trips?
Bruce Perry is the man. And while I was here last year making the album, I understood that they were looking to make an album for Survival International and for a Bruce Perry show. So I got way into the show, you know. I got some DVDs of Tribe, and I just became enamored with it. If I wasn't watching The Mighty Boosh, I was watching Tribe and visiting places, remote places all over the world. And, you know, to me, Bruce Perry teaches viewers a new way to interact with mankind. You know, whether you're just going to be popping into, you know, a bottle shop, or you're actually going to be communicating with someone in the jungle, you still need to be true, and you still need to communicate, you know, from the heart. And I mean, there was not an episode where I didn't cry, you know. So when I finally got to meet Bruce, you know, it was just like, I felt like I was just meeting my hero, you know. It was fantastic. So of course I signed up to work on the album, you know, the minute that I heard about it, and was able to be paired up with Brett Dennen, who I think is a phenomenal writer and motivator, and is just such a righteous dude. You know, he sings songs about the green initiatives, he sings songs about, you know, the heart and soul initiatives, and he really walks that walk too, you know. So yeah, that was a really special project to do this year.
Great. And I think we're at the Christmas season now, and what would be your ideal New Year's party, and do you have any resolutions for 2009?
How does your New Year's party? You know, every year, of course, New Year's is different. I always have this belief that whatever you're doing on New Year's Eve, and especially when the clock strikes 12, it's going to have a reflection on what you do the rest of your year. So if you're the type of person that just likes to get drunk and chase women or you know, and in that state kind of be confused about what New Year's is all about, no doubt the following year you're probably going to have a bout with alcoholism and not really sure what you want to do with life. So it's great to have an idea, great to have a vision, and hold it during that celebration of time, whatever time really is. And, you know, so like if you want to travel, pack your suitcase and have it at the door. Like be ready to pack with that intention of traveling in 2009. So my New Year's parties are always based on that.
Yeah.
And, you know, last year I was looking at my telescope. I set my telescope out in the yard, and I was determined to find Saturn for some reason. You know, the guy at the telescope store said, "With this baby here, you can see the rings of Saturn." And I was like, sold. I want that. I want to see that, you know. So we set it up, and I had my friends come over, and of course we had music and dancing and everything. But we all took time to go out into the yard, and funny enough, when I set up my telescope, that to calibrate it, you have to first point at the brightest thing in the sky. So I pointed to the brightest thing, and do the thing. And as I'm trying to focus on it, I realize it's out of focus. It's a weird shape. And I put a little zoom on it, and I realized I was looking at Saturn. So the first place I opened up the telescope was right on Saturn, and I was like totally stoked. Had everyone come and look at Saturn. Everyone's in awe. And 2008, surprisingly, became the year of Saturn for me. I'm way into astrology, and what I discovered is that this year, in August, my star chart, the way Saturn flows through 12 houses, Saturn flipped into the 12th house, which is the end of a 29-year cycle. And it's a really big deal for anyone who studies astrology and understands that. So it's a really special time. It was a time about sort of returning to the self and working on your soul's resources, so that way when Saturn flipped into the first house in 2010, you'll be the most comfortable you've ever been in your skin. So it really is a time of introspection and a time of self-reflection and learning. And really this year really was about that. And I changed a lot of habits this year thanks to Saturn 12. But you have another question, it's fine.
Nah, that was the last one.
That was the last one?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good timing, I think. So.
Awesome.
Sweet, thanks very much.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it was really nice talking to you. Appreciate that.